Well, good morning, diet disruptors. How is everyone today? It is, whew, we are back. So I hope everyone had a really enjoyable holiday. If you celebrate Christmas, it is our favorite holiday as a family, and we just enjoyed the time together. We have a little log cabin in upstate New York, and that is my kids joke that that is our only tradition that we have as a family. We have moved all over the place over the years. And so having traditions hasn't always been um, something that we've been able to do just because we've always been in different places at different times. So we don't have like a typical Thanksgiving tradition or Easter or anything like that. But we do have a Christmas Eve and Christmas Day tradition. And it did look a little different this year than it normally does, but it still involved us being in our little cabin, decorating our tree, and having gifts. Santa came, and my teenagers have a really good time with Santa and getting the cookies out and all of that. We joke though that we always leave him turkey along with the cookies because then it's a PFC meal. Because cookies are what? A fat and a carb, y'all, right? And turkey is your protein, and there's your PFC. So, anyway, I would love to know what you did to celebrate the holidays if you celebrated. And if you didn't celebrate, it was still a holiday. So, what did you do on your day off? So, go ahead and put in the comments. I'd love to see or hear what you did to celebrate. And if you all remember correctly, last week I actually pre-recorded my video and live streamed it. My team live streamed it for me because I was skiing in Utah with my husband. Our kids had escaped away to San Diego, and we went on the total opposite type of vacation, and we went skiing in Utah. Long story as to why we divided up. We've never done that before, but it was actually really nice to spend time together. We've been married for 20 years, and we didn't get a 20th anniversary celebration the way we had wanted to. So this was a really nice weekend away. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some realizations I had while we were traveling. Today, I am ending my series on mindset for the month. It is my favorite thing to talk about because it is truly the thing that makes the biggest difference in our success in literally anything in life. And so my kids actually just got jobs, like real life jobs. They do work for me as well, but they got jobs working for other people. And we've talked a lot about your attitude, right? And your mindset about working and whether or not it's something you get to do or you feel like you have to do. And the mindset and the attitude that you go into the job with will directly impact how successful you are in that job. So, we're going to talk and the last bit of this mindset series on our attitude, especially though when it comes to falling what I call off the wagon. And so, with the holidays, with people, possibly doing some travel, but it's a real prime time for us to fall off the quote unquote wagon. So, we are going to talk about what that means, how it feels, what we have to do about it, and all of that good stuff. But before I get into that, I do want to remind a couple of housekeeping things. We have two major things that are kind of coming up. One that's happening right now. A lot of you know or followed me for a while and know that our 4 weeks to wellness lifestyle launch, which is our foundational program, is by far the most amazing opportunity to be a part of. I will be jumping into it again in January. It's something I do a couple of times a year. And for those of our clients that sign up to do our 4 weeks to wellness lifestyle launch, you have lifetime access to the content. You can always go back and do it as many times as you want. And I think it's a really amazing opportunity to be able to do that. Well, starting in 2021, our fee and our prices for the 4 weeks to wellness are going to be increasing. And if you want a coach by your side, which is what I believe is one of the most amazing parts about our program, that will be an additional fee. And that hasn't happened before. That hasn't been the way we've operated. It's always been one fee and you get a coach. But for a variety of reasons, we do have to increase the pricing. And so I am like kicking and screaming doing it, I will be honest. So we are acknowledging the fact that that is going to happen. And we want to give you a chance to be able to jump in now so you don't have to pay the increase. So if you sign up for a 4 weeks to wellness lifestyle launch before the end of the month, you will pay our 2020 rate and you will get a coach. That will literally save you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And so if you've been thinking about it at all and you've just sort of been putting it off and like, now's not the right time, now's not the right time, this is the right time. So jump into it now, and you can choose to do it at any time in 2021. You choose your Monday that you want to start, and you can do it at any time. So there are no excuses whatsoever. Go to 4w2w.com for that. And then the other thing I want to tell you about is I know we are always posting pictures of these amazing recipes that are totally PFC balanced. My team and I work really hard to develop, try out, taste, test with our families, really simple but amazingly yummy and PFC balanced recipes. PFC is the approach that we use to fuel ourselves with food. It basically means we're eating a protein, fat, and carb, but we need to do that in the right portion and the right frequency. And we need to do that all day long. We are fueling our body. So we don't fuel ourselves with just an apple for a snack, for example. We always pair it with a protein and a fat along with that carb or something like that. Well, to get the right balance of your PFCs in dinner, it's just following a regular recipe, you're going to be off. You're definitely going to be off. There's always a misbalance in our PFCs in any recipes that I see. So my team and I work really hard to develop an incredible monthly recipe subscription so you don't even have to ever think about dinner. Not only are there tons of PFC balanced recipes, there's also a grocery list, bonus side dish, and dessert, and it's just incredible. And I also do tutorial every single month, giving you more nutritional tips and kind of tips and tricks on how to cook these meals or different things to think about as you're cooking them. It is closed. Our recipe subscription only opens twice a year, and it will be opened in January. So if you are interested in joining our recipe subscription and want to know more about that, you can go to disruptyournutrition.com/recipe waitlist, and we will put you on the recipe waitlist, and you'll get some free sample recipes to try out while you're waiting for it to be released. We're going to have some really special offers with the recipe subscription, so stay tuned for that. But if you go on the wait list, you'll get some samples and you'll be the first to know when that is releasing. Okay, so let's actually move into the stuff I really want to talk about. Falling off the wagon. So back from the holidays, back from vacation, and it's so easy to fall off the wagon. It's easy to justify it. I'm on vacation. It's a holiday, all of that. We have done many shows on travel tips and things like that. So go back and look at some of those episodes if you need to. But today we're not going to necessarily talk about ways to handle the holidays. I mean, the whole month of November we did that. So go back and look at that. But we're going to talk about what happens and why we fall off the wagon and what we need to do about it. So, this whole month, we have been talking about our mindsets, our value, how the scale is a total liar and we need to be all throwing it out. We also talked about self sabotage. And so, this self sabotage directly correlates to when we fall off the wagon. I think a lot of times we start kind of making excuses as to why we are sabotaging our goals. And we talked a lot about that last week when it comes to failure. So many times I hear people say, I know what I need to do, I just need to do it. Well, we need to ask ourselves why we're not doing it. And when we fall off the wagon, quote unquote, which means we've kind of gone off the rails, what do we need to do about it? Now, so many times our excuses, and because that's what they are, we rationalize as reasons. And we think reasons make sense. And reasons, are just the way they are. But the bottom line is we are not a victim of how we react to our circumstances. Our circumstances can be happening all around us. How we react to them is always within our control. So if we have fallen off the wagon because we lost motivation, because it was the holidays, because we were depressed, because we were scared, because of whatever it is, that's on us. But the only way that we are going to be able to take that responsibility on, own it, and do something about it is if we're aware of it. So I'm not saying this to y'all to be like, hey, it's your fault, because it's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that when we use excuses for our behavior, we rationalize it away, and then it becomes a new habit. Then it becomes the norm instead of the exception. Holidays should be the exception. Well, we always talk about an appreciation meal once a week anyway, but maybe the holidays you've got a few appreciation meals. That's okay. Maybe you've got an extra few glasses of clean crafted wine. That's okay. But when you rationalize it and then rationalize the next one and the next one and didn't work out and rationalize it the next day and the next day, and it becomes the norm versus the exception, you have fallen off the wagon, my friend, and you need to get yourself back out of it. So the first thing you need to do is ask yourself, is this becoming a new habit for myself? And if it is, you got to recognize that we can change our behaviors. And this is how I know. Now, I actually, in my previous life, a lot of you know, I was an educator for 24 years. I was actually a behavior specialist. It's why mindsets are like my thing, because I, for many, many, many years, worked with students with special needs and behavioral challenges, students that challenged us, right? And figured out how to be able to help them to be more successful by analyzing their behaviors and helping them figure out their triggers and going from there. Well, it's amazing how that morphed into how I started working and consulting with teachers and school administrators and their own mindsets when it came to being successful. And now I work with people in health and wellness, but it's all about mindset. So that is one way, one reason I know behaviors can change. But here's the other one. So just last week, I'm in the different airports. Now, I used to travel all the time. I haven't traveled, very first time I've traveled since February. And yes, I go to the grocery store and I see people in masks, but being in a different state, being in Utah, right? Where yes, I know I'm still in America, but it's just like when you travel and you see people from all walks of life, every single one of them wearing a mask, it hit me. It was like this surreal moment where I was like, wow, if you had said to anybody back in February or even March that everybody would be wearing masks a year later, you would have been like, wait, what? We will, and I remember hearing this, we will never get everybody to wear masks. There's no way people will do that. People will not change their behaviors that way. That is impossible. Tell me y'all remember that, right? Remember how surreal and foreign it was to even think that such a universal change in behavior would be adopted. And yet it has been everywhere you go. If you see somebody without a mask, it's odd. Now, I don't know how it is where you live, because I know everybody lives in different parts of the country and there's some rules that are different, but I was in Utah and it didn't matter where I was. We were skiing and everybody had masks on. Everybody. And so it really hit me in the fact that we can change our behaviors if there is a big enough reason to do it. We talk in our 4 weeks to wellness, and when I personally coach my clients in our other exclusive program, it's called the 12-week trifecta transformation. When those are clients that I'm personally coaching, when I'm working with those clients, or when my coaches are working with clients in their 4 weeks to wellness, or when I'm doing my weekly coaching calls in my membership group, we are constantly talking about our mindsets, about what we change, but really most importantly, about our why. And so our why in this, not even in this country, in this world, has been so big that has changed massive behavior from a global population. If that is not reason enough to have a strong purpose, I don't know what is. So if you have fallen off the wagon and you change your behavior, take a lesson from what we have been learning in this pandemic. When you have a big enough why, you can change your behavior. And if you can't, your why isn't big enough. And if you just want to lose 10 pounds because you want to feel good in a bikini, that is not going to get you to change your behavior. You will continue to self-sabotage. If you feel like you have so much weight to lose, you have so much you have to do to get healthy that it's not even worth it, that is self-sabotage, and that is going to keep you from really truly being successful because your why isn't there. Okay, we have the formula to help you to get to your optimal health, and I will You would be hard pressed for me to be able to find anybody else that could give you a formula that's better because it is simple, it is sustainable, and it's satisfying. There are no excuses when it comes to it. Is it quick? No, because it's right. Anything that tells you you're going to lose 40 pounds in a month, watch out for it. That is not healthy. And if you're doing that, your why is not strong enough. If you're doing that, your body's going to react in a way that's going to throw you off. And then you are going to self sabotage even more because you're deprived, you're craving, you're cranky, you're not healthy. So when you are doing this the right way, you feel amazing and want to keep going. And if you start to fall off the wagon, the very first thing you need to do is recognize what your purpose is for wanting to get healthy. When you get to your optimal health, you will get to your optimal weight. I say it all the time, but yet we still self-sabotage and we fall off the wagon. And again, it's okay if we can get back on. So how are we going to get back on? All right, let's go. So I am a big, big believer in one thing, in doing one thing when you fall off. Now let me give you my example. For example, we don't weigh ourselves in our house. I used to be a slave to the scale. I used to have an eating disorder, and that was a massive trigger for me. 2 weeks ago, I talked about getting rid of the scale. If you got rid of the scale right now, and that's not a measure, you would have to do things that force you to look at progress in a different way. If you were just simply using the scale when you fell off the wagon, you'll just stop eating. You'll just start depriving yourself of calories and just try to get a quick win of quick weight loss. And then you're gonna be like, okay, then I'm motivated. I just need to lose a few more pounds, lose the pounds I put on last week, and then I'll feel better, and then I'll go back to eating the way Carrie says to eat. No, that is the number one reason to get rid of the scale, because when you get off the wagon, when you will get back on incorrectly. You will get back on thinking that scale is just a little hit. It's like a drug, just a little hit, just so that I can get right back on. I'll be motivated once I do that. Nope. You have that scale, you're screwed. You're never going to get to where you need to go. But if you don't have that scale, you have to start thinking about how you're going to measure getting back on the wagon differently. So that is number one. Get rid of that scale. In order to get on the wagon, you're going to do one thing differently. And if you have the scale, that one thing is likely going to be cutting carbs, cutting fat, cutting calories, over exercising, doing things that your body is not going to thrive with. But if you do one thing, like I wake up and I do my morning routine, I plan my time, which I haven't done in the last week, to be very honest with you. If I just commit to doing that one thing, I'm going to be getting back on the wagon. And let me tell you why. One thing has been proven to trigger other things. But don't even plan those other things. Just do one thing. So I'm going to give you a bunch of one thing ideas to get back on the wagon. One thing, morning routine. Wake up 15 minutes early. Plan out your day. Plan out your meals. I'm not even saying you have to have them. Plan out your PFCs. I'm not even saying you have to have them. You plan them out. That is it. Okay, that's one thing. Because very often that triggers doing other things. But even if it doesn't, that's okay. You're going to do that one thing every day for 5 days. One thing. Okay, another one thing. Drinking 64 ounces of water if you're a woman, 96 ounces if you're a man. Make that your one thing for 5 days. That's it. It's amazing how that water and that hydration starts to trigger our body to want to do other healthy things. But I'm only telling you to do one. You only choose one. I promise. Okay. Now I should step back for a second. This is in addition to establishing your why. Okay. So you got to get grounded in your why. Get it straight on your head. Then you're going to do one more thing. Okay. So it is one thing, then one. Okay. So water, right? Think about this. Your next meal, here's another one thing. Your next meal is 3 hours away. So if you screw up, you're just going to eat your next meal 3 hours away. There is no guilt. The one thing you're going to do is if you don't do it right, you binged on Cheetos, no problem. You're going to hold off 3 hours and you go eat a PFC meal. Okay? One thing. You're just going to counter correct. That's what I love about falling off the wagon. You're not really that far off. It really just depends how long this has been your norm. Okay. So if you've fallen off the wagon for like a week, maybe you can get right back on pretty quickly and just be like, all right, my next meal is 3 hours away and I could do this. Right. Or maybe you're going to need a little bit more time. But I really want you to concentrate on one thing. Here's another one thing: go grocery shopping. Just go to the grocery store. Go to the grocery store and buy all the things that you know are going to support your why. Because if you have the food in your house, more than likely that one event will start to trigger other ones. You're not going to plan those other ones out. You're just going to plan the grocery shopping. Okay. One thing: move your body. Download that Peloton app. Do whatever you need to do and move your body that day. One thing. Maybe you're gonna say that one thing is gonna be exercise. Maybe it's a yoga class, a Pilates class, a strength training class, whatever it is, that one thing you're gonna do. Okay. Maybe that one thing is cleaning your house. I don't know what your one thing is going to be, but it's got to be something towards health and wellness. Because the reason I say cleaning your house is because when I feel like my house is a wreck, when I feel like everything's all over the place, I lose myself. I know that about me. And so I have to be self-aware of that and not use it as an excuse to be able to get off the wagon. Well, I can't right now because I've got this is good. The house is a mess and the kids have to be everywhere and blah, 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 blah. Okay, clean the house, right? Get yourself organized. So, what is your one thing going to be? Because one action will trigger another action. You don't know what that other action is going to be yet, and that's okay. So, after a few days of doing one thing, and that becomes more of the norm, then I want you to add one more thing. Don't even write a list of all the one things you're going to do. No, one thing at a time, because you don't know what the next one thing is going to be. It's okay. And then what I want you to do is to wrap yourself in your mindset of can, your mindset of what you get to do, your mindset of winning. We have this belief that we are losing, especially when we're falling off the wagon. And one negative experience and one negative moment in our day can continue to bring us down. But there is so much to be grateful for, so much to be thinking about, so much you have access and opportunity to. Don't throw it away, recognize it, and be grateful for it. So falling off the wagon is not a big deal. And you don't need to wait until January 1st. There's nothing magical that is going to happen on January 1st that isn't happening today. Okay. So today, what is your one thing going to be? Today. Okay. I want to know what your purpose is. What is your why? And what's the one thing you're going to do to get yourself back on that wagon? I want to hear. Put some comments down for me because this really matters as to whether or not I'm actually getting through to anybody or just talking to my screen. So please let me know where you are with that. And I cannot I cannot say this enough. The people that go through the 4 weeks to wellness and they truly engage and they truly look at this as an opportunity, they fly, you guys. They become different. It becomes transformational. And I do not want you telling the same story to yourself at this time next year. And so I am giving you this opportunity to tell you that now is the chance. Now is the time to jump into the opportunity that we have where you can get the 4 weeks to wellness at the lowest price it will ever be with a coach. Because just in a few days, you guys, it's going up. And then when you want to do it, you're going to be kicking yourself that you didn't. So go to 4w2w.com because here's the thing. If these mindset episodes have been helping you, imagine how much more you get when I am there by your side with your coach, cheering you on, hearing you, responding to you, and being able to actually be a part of this journey that you're on. It gets so much better when we can actually work with you together and formally and intentionally. And that's what we want. Okay, and remember, our recipe subscription is another way to plug in. It is definitely not where you're going to get what you get at the 4 weeks to wellness. But if it's just something small and you just feel like you are one of those people that get it, that knows the program, and just needs to get your act in gear to make sure that everybody is ready and healthy for all of your meals, as you know, as all of your dinners, no more what's for dinner anymore, ever, then go on to the recipe wait list by going to disruptyournutrition.com/recipe wait list. You guys, I hope that this was helpful. Have a happy, happy new year. Next month, I have a whole new series. Some of our coaches are going to come on and guest host with me. And so I'm really excited about that. I cannot wait to hear what 2021 is going to bring. Although we know nothing magical happens January 1st, there is a sense of excitement to know that 2020 and all the lessons that it's brought us is going to be behind us soon. Bye, guys.